Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on Sri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Kasmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Former CJ Gertrude Tokonu has for the High Court to contest her removal as a justice of the Superior Court. We'll also hear from the Commissioner of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice on the 9 deportees to Ghana who sued the country against what they call human rights abuses. And much later on the program, we'll be going to the Ashanti region, specifically Asanteman, where the kingdom brings a close to that final funeral rite for the late Queen Mother of the area, Nana Yadom III. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, lawyers of the 11 West African nationals who are challenging their detention in Ghana have told on Accra High Court that, contrary to claims by President Mahama and Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, they remain in detention in Ghana and have not been repatriated to their home countries. Led by Oliver Bakavomao, the U.S. deportees are seeking an injunction and a court order to prevent them from being repatriated to their home countries. The 11 West African nationals comprise of 4 Nigerians, 3 Togolese, 2 Malians, 1 Gambian and 1 Liberian. A man in court is Lord Edwasari. He joins us live on the line. Lord, tell us what's been happening in court so far.
Right, Beatrice. So essentially, in court today, they're expecting to, which is Oliver Bakavoma, was expecting to move 2 motions. One was the writ of habeas corpus and then an injunction application. And the thing about these 2 applications is that he filed them ex parte, meaning that the respondents were not present, or they was filed so that whether they are present or not, the case could go on. Now, the respondents in the matter was the Attorney General, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Comptroller General. So in court today, Bakavoma made the case that since their repatriation or their transfer to the country on 6th September, the 11 nationals, consisting of, like you indicated earlier, 4 Nigerians, Gambians, there's Gambians, there are Malians, Sierra Leoneans. Now, he indicated that since they were transferred to the country, they have not had any sort of access. And even to begin with, they do not know why they are in the country. Nothing was told them. And so he was praying for an injunction, essentially to stop them from being repatriated. He cited the fact that, and Beatrice, you recall when the president had the media encounter, he indicated that 14 West African nationals had been repatriated from Ghana after an agreement with the U.S. government. Now, Oliver says that despite this proclamation by the president, and then later on the Foreign Affairs Minister, Okudzeto Ablakwa, that these individuals have been repatriated to their home countries, indicated that they are being held in some military base, and they are being detained. They do not know exactly what is going on. And so he was praying the court to sort of injunct the government from furthering the repatriation process, indicating that, and again, which is the second race, which is the habeas corpus, he wanted the case to be held because per the law, they shouldn't be in detention for over 48 hours. And this is a case where they've been in Ghana since September 6th. And so he was praying the court to be able to move these motions. But the presiding judge in the matter, who indicated that she was sitting in the stead of the substantive judge, wanted to adjourn the matter, also indicated that there was a need for the parties that had been cited, which is the respondents, to be included in the case, because then they'd be able to respond to the various allegations that the lawyers for the West African nationals were making. But then Oliver indicated that the way things had already progressed and the fact that they had been held for this long, there was a necessity for the courts.
It looks like we lost Lord Adwasari on the line. We'll try and reconnect to him and bring you more on that. Meanwhile, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, has further disclosed that Ghana will, in the coming days, receive an additional 40 West African deportees from the United States of America. Now, in a related development, the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, SHRAJ, has backed a suit by some 11 West African nationals about the detention in Ghana. Speaking on New Day on TV3 today, the Commissioner of SHRAJ, Joseph Whittal, said the suit is key to ensuring clarity, as there are many grey areas in the Memorandum of Understanding, that's the MOU that brought them to Ghana.
I have listened to the Foreign Affairs Minister. He says they have an MOU with the Trump administration, and of course to accept deportees through Ghana temporarily to transit them to third countries. Now, my concern is, if that MOU does not measure up to the treaties and conventions which Ghana has ratified in terms of how such deportees should come into Ghana, then we'll have a difficulty. You remember the opposition minority group have signaled that if it is the normal deportation into Ghana, it ought to go before Parliament for approval.
Indeed, per Article 73.
Exactly. But the question now is, the Foreign Affairs Minister seems to want to explain it away with this is an MOU between them and that it does not ripen to the need to put them before Parliament. So there are so many gray areas yet, and I'm happy that this challenge is coming up because the application is seeking clarity. They will bring their facts before the court, and the Attorney General to be able to give the facts from the government side so that the Ghanaian public will be better edified. I would not fault the government right away because, one, the use of the word temporal. They are passing through, they are being deported through Ghana temporarily on their way to their nationality of origin. And so they are not going to be here. And so why would they have to go before Parliament? But we still need to get clarity. If the people are taking advantage of the laws of Ghana, that if you take us to our home countries, this is the treatment that is awaiting us. Ghana, in the International Community of Nations, has a duty to protect these people.
And you heard there the Commissioner of Schwach, Joseph Whittal. The computerized school selection and placement system resolution center located at the Nut Hall has been inundated with parents and students who are yet to get placement into their preferred senior high schools. This follows the release of their BCE results some few weeks ago. My colleague Noura Mohammed has just returned from the center where she's been speaking to stakeholders. She actually joins us live on the phone. Noura, just tell us currently where you are and what's happening there.
Yes, so we're currently at Nut Hall in Accra, and this place has been converted into a resolution center for the senior high school placement that was released yesterday for BC candidates.
Okay, what is happening there beyond what you just told us?
Yes, so at the moment, we can see some parents trooping in with their wards, and they are directed to various sections. So we have a CVET section, we have a private school section, we have a senior high school and technical section, and some of them are complaining that they haven't been placed, their wards have not been placed, and some also say that they have been placed. However, they want to change the placement to a school, a school of their preference. And that's currently what's happening. So that exercise is currently ongoing.
Would you say that the situation is calm or it's a bit chaotic as regards what's happening there?
At the moment, it's quite calm. We don't really have a large crowd there. It's pretty calm at the moment, I would say.
Thank you very much, Noura Mohammed. Currently at that placement center where parents and students are trying to get placement into their preferred senior high schools. And still on this, the Ministry of Education says that it is experiencing high traffic on its school placement portal following the release of this year's computer placement. Officials are urging parents and students to remain patient and continue checking the site as the process stabilizes. The ministry says 82% of qualified students have been placed in their first choice schools. Additionally, 49 out of 70 private senior high schools have been available for self-placement. Deputy Minister of Education, Dr. Clement Park, gave the updates during a press briefing in Accra earlier.
I am pleased to announce that 483,800 candidates, representing 82%, have been successfully placed. Of this figure, 248,038 students are female, constituting 51.4%, and 234,783 are males, constituting 48.6%. However, 107,509 candidates, making up 18.2%, could not be matched with their initial choices due to the high demand for Category A schools. So 49 of the 70 private secondary schools added to the delivery of the free senior high school policy can only be selected through the self-placement system.
As we speak to us at this moment, the system is up and running, and it's very effective and efficient. Because of the anxieties and the traffic, we actually anticipated, because people were actually waiting to find results of their placement. We saw that there was actually so much traffic on the system as at the time of the release. The technical team, together with my team, worked throughout the night to stabilize the system, and the system is up and running. People have checked their placements. Some had earlier checked and they had a status of pending placement. Those ones have been resolved and resolved very well.
Let's go to the Ashanti region now, precisely Kumasi, where the grand burial ceremony of the late Asantehima Nana Akufo-Addo Adom III is currently ongoing. Ahead of today, the Menchia Palace issued a directive for the closure of market as a show of respect to observe the final burial rite. Our reporter Ibrahim Abubakar joins us live now. Ibrahim, I know you've been assessing the compliance level and atmosphere in Kumasi. Just tell us what's currently happening.
So, Beatrice, aside the Menchia Palace and its environment, I can tell you that the entire Kumasi has transformed into what I would describe as a virtual ghost town, because all trading activities and social activities have come to a complete standstill. Even though the directive was only to close down markets, because traditionally the Queen Mother is a custodian of all markets in the Ashanti region, for that matter, as a sign of respect, and they had to close down the market. But I can tell you that several institutions, including educational institutions, banks, and other social gatherings have also decided to comply with this directive as a sign of respect. Everybody is observing the final barrier rights of the late Asante man and Beatrice Adu. Now, when we move to places like Kejetia and also the bustling environment, you realize that all shops are shut.
You have just 1 minute.
And we'll try and reconnect to our reporter, actually our correspondent in the Shanti region, Ibrahim Abubakar, as he brings us update from what's happening regarding the final burial rites for the late Asantehima Nana Kunedu Yadom III. Now, the Ghana Medical Trust Fund has this afternoon concluded a needs assessment of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. This is the first of some visits to the teaching hospital and regional hospitals across the country. The administrator of the fund, Beatrice Adu, says these visits will provide the fund with first-hand information on equipment and infrastructure needs, data on disease burden, among others. Beatrice Adu, the Ghana Medical Care Trust Fund administrator, spoke to the press earlier.
To do the needs assessment of exactly what we are supposed to be doing and our mandate. So we are out here with 3 objectives. First of all, to evaluate the availability and the condition of your diagnostic and treatment equipment for the non-communicable diseases. We are also here to identify service delivery gaps in patient flow, referral systems and access to specialist care, and to gather some data on the NCD patients.
And you have there Beatrice Adu. She's the administrator of the Ghana Medical Trust Fund, which is also called the Mahama Cares. Noble Crosby Annan is a man who's been following this event as well. He joins us live on the line. Noble, if you can tell us what transpired between the fund managers and the officials that visited.
Well, like you rightly mentioned, it was a needs assessment engagement. Essentially, what happened was that the administrator of the fund, as well as some management members of the hospital, the CEO was present, the medical director of the facility was present, as well as the deputy medical director of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. They were present, and it was a conversation about what the facility needs in terms of things that fall under the purview of the Mahama Cares Fund. I'm talking about the non-communicable disease, so the need of the mentioning of the nephrology and the urology unit, the cancer unit as well. There was also conversations about capacity building of staff of the facility. There was a concern about brain drain as a revelation of about 50 critical care nurses leave the facility. I'm talking only about the Kolebu Teaching Hospital every month in pursuit of being pastures. That was of the worry. After the conversation, the team have been embarking on a tour of some facilities and some equipment here at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. As I speak with you, the team is at the urology and nephrology unit, looking at the entire dialysis process, the need for some machines. Before this place, they were at the cancer unit, looking at the radiology equipment, some of the equipment that need to be replaced, the need for the construction of new bunkers to hold new machines that hopefully the hospital can get to increase the capacity and the ability to manage some of these cases. Essentially, that is what the visit or the tour has been about, Beatrice.
And are you able to give us more information as regards any assessments that they found?
Well, since the tour is ongoing, hopefully at the end of the tour we'll speak with the administrator of the fund, and she'll let us know what her assessment has been after the visit and the engagement with the with management of the facility. I should also tell you that this is just the beginning of visits or tours to other teaching hospitals and regional hospitals in the country, again on a need assessment basis to inform the policy directing interventions for the Mahama Care Trust Fund. I'm talking about the Ghana Medical Care Trust Fund in the pursuit of a healthy Ghana for all.
Thank you very much, Noble Crosby Annan. His man following that engagement between the Mahama Care's management and the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. Let's hear the CEO of the hospital.
This is a very laudable initiative to start with, because that has been lacking in the past. And so to bring to bear taking care of non-communicable diseases. It's a very important step in our bid to ensure that we are able to take care of the health of our population.
And he had the CEO of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Dr. Yakubu Saidu Adam. We do apologize for the poor quality of that sound. Now, the Member of Parliament for the Korle Klote constituency, Dr. Zaneto Ajeman Rawlings, has called on the Transport Minister and the President to urgently intervene and stop private individuals from taking over the Abuja CMB market. Market women and drivers who have been operating in that enclave for decades have been forced onto the street, one that is threatening food security. Addressing journalists in Parliament, the MP called on government to clearly define what that land is supposed to be used for, while calling on the Economic and Organised Crime Office to investigate the matter. Christian Yale is our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent. He joins us live on the line. Chris, this is not the first time this has happened. What do we know?
So we know that as far back as 2018, which was exactly on March 18th, 2018, the MP back then raised this issue on the floor of Parliament, also due to concerns that it is a property of Ghana Railways Development Authority, which they intend to use to construct some houses for the railway workers. That is something that has not happened yet. And so as far back then in 2018, she raised that concern to ask the then Minister for Railway Development what specific plans the government had for developing this particular land. And also we know that even last year, she received a petition which was forwarded to the then minister as well concerning the same issue, which then culminated to the demonstration that happened last Tuesday, this very week, where the GPRTU members as well as some of the market women besieged the presidency to petition the president on the issue. And so now she has condemned the purported takeover of the Abuja CMB market land by these private individuals and has called on the president as well as the minister to come out clearly what plans they have for this land. She has also called on the Economic and Organised Crime Office, IOCO, to investigate it to find a lasting solution to what is happening. We can take a listen to what she has been saying.
CMB Abuja Enclave is one that holds a very key part of commerce in Greater Accra. Also, a very important part of our food chain in an urban center, because most of the food that comes in from the hinterland actually arrives at the Abuja CMB market. And so what I would like to do is stand unequivocally and to condemn what is happening in this enclave, because it is very clear that this land is state land and should not be taken over by private individuals, especially when we are not sure who is giving the permission. And so I would like to call on the Minister of Transport, under whom the Railways Development is situated, to really come out and give clear guidance on this, and to the President to intervene on this issue, to stop private individuals who are taking possession of land that is for Railways Department under the Ministry of Transport. It is state lands, and the people who are there have been there since the 80s. Some of the drivers who are there can confirm that they have been positioned there since the 80s. Their position there, their livelihoods are key. And we must not, in the name of development, disenfranchise or destroy the livelihoods of people who may not be as well-to-do, but whose existence is very key to the entire food chain of not just Greater Accra, but of the country. I would like to call on IOCO to investigate this because this is causing a huge uproar in terms of people's stability. A huge part of our informal sector is situated in the CMB Abuja Market Enclave. And a lot of people, over thousands of market women, not to mention the hundreds of drivers who operate there, will be completely devastated in terms of their livelihoods. And it will affect our food security in Accra. Sometimes it appears as though some of these things may not be related, but this is related to our very livelihood and our food security. With EOCO, there is the possibility to see things to a finality. Once there's a fiat given from the Attorney General, EOCO can actually proceed with prosecuting any kind of criminal case. I do have a lot of questions with regards to what's happening on the railways land.
And you had there the Member of Parliament for Korle Klottey, Dr. Zaneto Ajiman Rawlings. Let's wrap it up with Christian Yale. Chris, was there any immediate reaction from the people who are affected by this?
What we know is that after that petition which they submitted to the president last Tuesday, most of them have been forced onto the street, especially the market women and the drivers who are finding it very difficult to operate their daily business. But it is expected from the MP. She has had some informal engagement with the minister, and the expectation is that as soon as possible, this would be addressed. Also because she is the chairperson of the Security and Intelligence Committee, this is an issue of interest to her, even before or beyond her representation as the People's MP.
Thank you very much, Christian Yale. He's our parliamentary affairs correspondent. We go to the northern part of the country, and the solar camp established for displaced victims in the Binyiri conflict has officially been closed down by authorities in the Sola Tuna Kaba district, following the return of the victims to their communities. NADMO officials have begun dismantling the tent, which served as shelter for the thousands of victims. The Binyiri conflict in the Savannah region occurred over a plot of land between two feuding factions, resulting in the deaths of about 31 persons and also leading to the displacement of some 48,000 people. Christopher Marco is our man. He's been following this. He joins us live on the phone. Chris, what's next after this? Okay, it looks like we lost Christopher Marco on the line, but he brought us a report earlier. Let's listen to exactly what he said.
The camp here at the Solar Police Station, which served as shelter and a safe haven for thousands of displaced victims affected by the Binyiri conflict, has been officially closed down by officials here in the Sola Tuna Kalba district. Now, as can be seen, NADMO officials are currently dismantling the tents that used to shelter these victims. Now, the camp was officially closed down yesterday around 2 p.m. according to NADMO. Savannah Regional NADMO Director Mahama Zakaria has been confirming this to the news team. He's also been appealing for more support for some of the victims in neighboring Burkina Faso who have not had any attention since the incident. He's also been calling for peace. Well, one critical concern that has come up for discussion has to do with the safety of the victims as they are reintegrating into their communities. For them, they want government to prioritize its assurance of providing them with some security even as they return into their communities. The issues of food security, education, health is also becoming a major issue in these communities, even as the people have returned to rebuild their lives. Christopher Mwako, Sola.
And that's how we end the news here, the midday news here on Shri FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Coming up shortly is Business Daily with Bismarck Awisa. Don't go away.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Business Daily on 3FM 92.7. Coming up this afternoon, Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama urges strict adherence to recapitalization plans to strengthen banking sector resilience as he expresses concern over elevated risk despite improved non-performing loan ratio. Also ahead, Brazil turns to Ghana as alternative market for agricultural exports following U.S. tariff hikes under President Donald Trump. We'll hear from Ambassador Mariana Madeira.
As you know, we've been facing some challenges lately with taxation of our agricultural products to the U.S., which was such a major market.
I am Bismarck Ausa. These headline stories and others lined up for you. Please stay with me. Thanks for your company. Now to the details. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, says elevated credit risk remains a major concern for the financial sector, despite some improvement in the industry's non-performing loan ratio. He stressed that strict adherence to recapitalization plans and full implementation of regulatory guidelines are critical to reducing bad loans and safeguarding the resilience of the banking sector. Dr. Johnson Isiama made this known at the 126th MPC press briefing in Accra.
In terms of trade, as you know,
the sector recorded strong performance over the first 8 months with continued asset growth and improved profitability, asset quality, and efficiency indicators. The industry's capital adequacy ratio, or the CAR, without regulatory reliefs, increased to 17.7% in August 2025 from 10.2% in August 2024. The industry's non-performing loan, or the NPL, ratio improved to 20.8% compared to 24.8% last year. And this was due to growth in bank credit and contraction in NPL stock. This notwithstanding, elevated credit risk remains a major concern going forward. And in the outlook, adherence to the recapitalization plans and full implementation of the bank's regulatory guidelines to lower NPLs will further enhance resilience of the banking sector.
And that was Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, urging strict adherence to recapitalization plans to strengthen banking sector resilience. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana says momentum in the economy remains strong. The central bank's high-frequency indicators show that the composite index of economic activity grew by 6.1% in July 2025, up from 1.9% a year earlier. The growth was largely driven by increased international trade, higher consumption, and improved industrial output. According to Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama, the bank's latest confidence surveys conducted in August also point to sustained optimism among businesses and consumers, underscoring a steady pickup in economic activity. Moving on, with President Trump's tariff regime tightening access to the U.S. market, Brazil is turning its sights on Ghana as a new hub for agricultural exports. At the launch of the one-year anniversary of the Brazil-Ghana Chamber of Commerce in Accra, the Brazilian ambassador Mariana Madeira stressed the urgency of diversifying trade partners and praised the Chamber's vital role in strengthening economic ties between the two countries.
in terms of trade, as you know, we've been facing some challenges lately with taxation of our agricultural products to the U.S., which was such a major market. And we hope that we can divert some of those products to new markets in expansion. I think the Brazil Chamber of Commerce is a starting point, and it is also has a vital role in strengthening the trade relations between our countries by building bridges between business communities. It fosters confidence and structure to expand trade, which is essential for our shared prosperity. So it just makes it easy for new Brazilian investments here in Ghana, and likewise for Ghanaian products to enter the Brazilian market. I think the Chamber is helping to open new avenues in agribusiness and technology. As you know, Brazil is very well known as a leader in agricultural production. So together we can create partnerships that will benefit both countries.
And that was Ambassador of the Federative Republic of Brazil to Ghana, Mariana Madeira. Meanwhile, founding president of the Brazil-Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Edinam Ejayesika, revealed that the chamber is creating new openings for Ghanaian SMEs to showcase products such as cosmetics, shea butter, and black soap on supermarket shelves in Brazil. She added that a series of trade missions are being lined up to give Ghanaian businesses the chance to interact directly with Brazilian suppliers and explore new partnerships.
One of the dreams that we have as a chamber is to ensure that some of our commodities are placed and like you walk into Brazil and in your supermarket, you're able to buy things like shea butter, black soap, because you know that when we take away Nigeria, Brazil has the second largest population of blacks. And in Ghana, when we come to the cosmetic industry, there's a lot that we can offer, even just taking the black community in Brazil. And so this is something that we are working with, especially the small businesses in Ghana, to try and make sure that our black soap, our shea butter are placed on the shelves in big supermarkets in Brazil. Going forward, we should expect a lot of trade missions. We want to give the opportunity to our Ghanaian business communities to interact directly with the Brazilian businesses, because sometimes what holds them back is their inability to get in touch with suppliers. And so we hope to be able to put them directly in touch with Brazilian suppliers in trade missions that will go both ways.
And that was founding president of the Brazil-Ghana Chamber of Commerce, Edinam Ejayesika. Before we go, a recap of our headlines. Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama urges strict adherence to recapitalization plans to strengthen banking sector resilience as he expresses concern over elevated credit risks despite improved non-performing loan ratio. And Brazil turns to Ghana as alternative market for agricultural exports following U.S. tariff hikes under President Donald Trump. And this brings us to the end of Business Daily on 3FM 92.7 with me, Bismarck. I will serve more business stories. Please check out our website, 3news.com. Thanks for your company.